And do roll call, please. All right. You want me to
Please
repeat all
remember
that?
to speak into the mic. Chair Condit,
Here.
Vice Chair Carr is absent. Member Chiesa.
Here.
Members Wallen. Here. Member Hernandez is not here yet, but we do have a quorum in the room.
Okay. Moving on to public comments. Members of the public may address the committee on any item not on the agenda. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes unless the chair or the committee sets a different time limit. Does anybody have public comment on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the consent calendars. Any executive board meeting like to discuss items on the consent? Any public comment on items on consent? Seeing none, I'll bring it back and for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I have a first, second, and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Got 3-0-1, right? Is that how that goes? Okay. All right, moving on. Discussion items. 5A. I believe that is.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
It's our federal lobbyist, and David Gelman will be joining us this afternoon, evening for them on this item.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Thank you so much for the time today. I know that you are all hoping soon to plan your annual legislative advocacy trip to DC, and we're very excited and appreciative that you continue to advocate for the agency's priorities before the federal government. But I basically just quickly today wanted to just provide a few potential dates for that visit for your consideration. I know that's something we've sort of been discussing back and forth in the recent weeks. So for that visit, we probably would want to wait just a little while, just because since it's a new administration, and even though we're already 5 months in, the DOT, the Department of Transportation specifically, is a little bit behind in terms of confirming their nominees to the senior modal positions within the administration, like Federal Transit Administration, Federal Railroad Administration, for example. The nomination hearing for that individual is this week. And they're also still implementing some of the administration's executive orders, and they're also in the process of reviewing a backlog of pending grant agreements. So there's just a lot of backlog at DOT, and so that's just the context for why we'll be recommending these dates. So the two options that we were thinking, and I think one of these is referenced on the agenda, would be June 24th through 26th. For meetings, with Tuesday the 24th as the fly-in day, or alternatively, there are a few weeks in September when Congress is in session. They're pretty much in session every week except for the week of September 22nd, which is the week of the Jewish High Holy Days. So those were just some potential dates for your consideration, and would love to hear any thoughts you may have on those dates, or any questions you have about the timing of your potential meetings in DC.
David, were there any specific dates in September?
We are, I think, pretty open in September. I know that the Greater Valley Voice trip is the week of the 7th. So I assume some of your members will be there for that. I think in the past we might have done some StanCog specific meetings around that trip, but that's an option. But ultimately, we'd probably defer to you. We're personally available and open to support you that month on the whole.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll bring it back to the executive committee. And I'll just say, I thought I was going to be available in June. I'm not going to be able to pull it off in June on that particular week. But I'd like to hear from the executive committee on the dates, September, June, whatever works out. I kind of feel like we might be in a situation where the dust is still in the air and we still need to wait to let it fall and see what happens. I don't know if it's going to be beneficial to go back, and just my opinion.
I would agree with that. It's still unsettled, but there's more value in waiting. Having said that, as it gets closer to the Regional Policy Council, I won't participate here probably, because I'll be there for Regional Policy Council. I don't want to go back twice, but that's neither here nor there for this board. I think there's plenty of members.
My only comment is, Jen had mentioned previously that there might be some advantage to getting there early, but if the leadership's not even in place, then it doesn't seem like that's reasonable at this point, so.
Another
that we-
point, another point, if I may, I wanted to convey that I forgot earlier is that we'll probably know about a little later we'll know more about kind of the timing of certain discretionary grant opportunities and when those will be due, and because right now they're still reviewing notices of funding opportunity, and we might know more about kind of the timeline and schedule of different grant opportunities. I just wanted to add that, if that's helpful.
And I am not available that weekend in June either. We already have multiple things scheduled that I'm unable to miss or would not want to miss.
Go ahead.
There's other people
Right.
could go, so don't make that decision based on that.
No, you're just getting in your chair, Rachel. We're just discussing the dates for a DC trip, whether we should go or not go, or.
Yeah.
that's,
I mean, if anything hasn't changed from the previous conversation in terms of timeline, it felt better to wait, but
All right, I'll go out. Any public comment on this particular agenda item? Yep. Bring it back to the board. Yeah, postpone the trip and still keep September open, at least.
I think that sounds good. Whatever date's decided, it's always sooner. It's better to know sooner than later because the calendars, as we all know, get packed, but doesn't seem like June is feasible at this point.
Want to make the motion?
All right, I make a motion that we wait till at least the September dates that were suggested.
Have a first? Having a second? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to 5B, motion to recommend the policy board adopt the Measure L master funding agreement for fiscal years 2025, 26 through 2029, 30. Jean Paletta.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. This item's rather short. This is approving the Measure L master funding agreement for the years 2025 through 2030. The next slide, please. Master funding agreement is running out here in a couple of months, or at the end of this month, and so we need to go ahead and get a new agreement in place. The Measure L sales tax is that, as you all are aware, is the half-cent sales tax approved by our voters in 2016. The revenues are all deposited in a special fund used solely for transportation improvement projects and programs described in our Measure L expenditure plan. All the jurisdictions must comply with the requirements of the master funding agreements and the Measure L policies and procedures to be eligible for funding. Next slide. So, as I said, the agreements expire on June 30. The master funding agreement will have a term of July 1st, 2025 through June 30, 2030. The Measure L distribution to move Stanislaus will be the only change to any of the agreements, which will have an annual as opposed to a monthly basis once the policy board has reviewed and approved moves annual budget. So that would be the only change to any of the master funding agreements. Everything else would be status quo. And with that, I would be happy to take any questions.
Any questions from Jean?
You're going to disperse funds one time a year to move?
Yes, we used to do it we used to do it that way. They must give us their budget. And once they give us their budget, then we would disperse all the funds to them, all the funds in their budget to them. And remember, they do have a carve out, a special carve out in the Measure L expenditure plan.
Are you giving them the money prospectively when they give you a budget, or are you waiting to collect the money and then dispersing it one time at the end of the 12-month cycle?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Is that making sense?
So, thank you for the question. We've had a few conversations with the CEO of Move, and what they're indicating is based on their cash flow, because they are a smaller organization. Once their agency adopts their budget, usually in April or May, going into the next fiscal year, that at that point they provide it to us pursuant to them to the policy board pursuant to their master funding agreement. We present it to the policy board. The policy board has an opportunity to review and approve. And then based on that, they would get their requested Measure L budget amount for the upcoming fiscal year dispersed in one lump sum.
That's prospectively.
Correct.
Any other questions for Jean?
My only question is, I understand there was some questions about this with the city managers and county. Do you have any comments about that? Or are we just saying that we're pushing this to the policy board to then decide if it will be approved or not?
I don't believe that they, this was the item that they had comments
Yes,
about. Was it Rosa?
yes, it was. They made Joe, the city
Oh,
manager made
true,
a,
that's true.
made a
He did-
comment.
he did have a
It
comment.
had some language specific, and I try to explain that this is not the mechanism to make that it would have to be amended through another process. And I confirmed with our general counsel, and she agrees that this agreement is not the purpose where you make those changes.
Okay,
But it's
so,
definitely something that we could bring
Yeah.
back to.
okay, so will this be discussed further when it goes to the policy board in totality? I mean, we're not, this is going to the policy board, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Exactly. All right, any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for a motion for further questions.
Motion to approve?
I have a first.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Unanimous. All right, 5C, draft May policy board agenda.
Okay, so you have the draft May policy board agenda in front of you. Please take an opportunity to look it over and let us know if you have anything that you want to move into consent or move into discussion. Most of this is, you'll see as members Wellen just commented on, the master funding agreement is under discussion and action under 6A, so we will be discussing it. And as you know, what we typically do is the management and finance did make a comment, and what we do in our packets is we'll say this comment was made at the management and finance, so that's where you'll see it. But other than that, please let me know if there's anything you want to move, or if you want to adopt.
Does B, discussion item B, is it required for C? Is it a part of the demographic and employment forecast? That had anything to do with the regional transportation plan, sustainable community strategy? I don't remember ever getting that. Not that it's not useful. I look forward to it.
Is it part? Oh, is it part of C
Yeah,
I,
under
and I don't know if Elizabeth is on, but I think this is information that she would like the board to be aware. Yeah, so I think this is, it is all tied in, you are correct, to our development of our sustainable community strategy. So I think for the board to hear it, I think it would be very good information.
All right.
Is that the case, Elizabeth?
Yeah, it's the results of the demographic forecast are used in the land use and the travel demand model and development of the RTPSES. The presentation that's been prepared is rather brief. It's the presentation itself, the slides will be presented by the UOP, and then I've got a staff report that goes along with that.
Perfect.
And if I
Thank you.
could add a little bit to that as well, since it was my first meeting attended, it really helped inform some of the brainstorming around the public participation plan to be able to add to it, since it's a working document.
Through the short straw, I forgot.
All right. Any other questions for Gene?
I'd say leave it as is.
Any public comment on this particular agenda item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for a motion. Oh, we don't act. Oh, we don't. Okay. Cool. Leave as is. Moving on, Executive Director report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't really have any comments to make right now, but I do want to mention, since Member Hernandez brought up, she did attend our first Valley Vision Stanislaus meeting, and I thought it was really good, a good meeting and very good information. So she did hear this item, these two items, so she'll just hear it. She's going to become an expert for us. So thank you.
Moving on, any member reports? Executive.
If I could, just really quickly, I always am amazed. I always look at this right here, the money that's coming in from Asia L. And seeing that we peaked at $62 million back in the 2021-22 year. And it's been a slow decline for 4 consecutive years. Right now, we're trailing $273,000 behind last year, which was at 60 million. So it'll be consecutive. It looks like we're headed for 4 consecutive years of decrease in sales tax, which is pretty amazing because there are jurisdictions that are doing better than that. But overall, this is an indicator of the health of the county. And anyways, you wouldn't expect 4 years of sales tax decline other than like Prop 172 that has a different mechanism that it's based on a pool. This is actually what's collected in our county. So just want everyone to be aware because costs aren't coming down for sure.
Definitely concerning.
And if I may,
Go.
Mr. Chair, tying into that, it also is something we're watching with our local transportation funds because it's the same thing. And, you know, our transit operators rely heavily on that funding. And so it's the same, their cost is going higher and the funds are decreasing. So something that we're going to have to be watching.
All right. Moving on, we're going to adjourn. The next executive committee meeting is June 12th, 2025, Thursday at 12 p.m. We're adjourned.